Viewer discretion is advised. The content in this video includes historical events and narratives that may be disturbing or unsettling to some audiences. Please proceed with caution. Welcome to the dark heart of New York City's justice system. Strap in as we peel back the curtain on Rikers Island, where secrets don't stay locked up for long. Are you ready to dive into the gritty truth of America's most controversial jail? Hit play and let's unravel the mysteries together. Rikers Island Crisis: How America's most controversial jail fails its inmates. Rikers Island, a name often shrouded in infamy, lies in the East River between Queens and the Bronx. This 413-acre island, the largest correctional facility in New York City and one of the world's largest, has a history deeply intertwined with conflict, reform, and societal reflection. The island's story begins long before its transformation into a penal institution. Purchased in 1664 by Dutch settler Abraham Rikers, it remained a family farm until 1884, when the city of New York bought it for $180,000. The original intent was to build a workhouse for petty offenders from the overcrowded city jails. In 1932, under the shadow of the Great Depression, the first penal buildings were constructed on Rikers Island. It was seen as a progressive step towards alleviating the city's jail overcrowding problem. However, the island's isolation from the city made it an ideal place not just for detaining the convicted, but also for sweeping under the rug the darker aspects of the penal system. During World War II, the island expanded significantly. Its inmate population grew, and the facilities were increasingly used for a mix of minor offenders and more serious criminals, creating a volatile mix within the institution's walls. The 1950s and 1960s saw the construction of more facilities on the island, including a hospital, a bakery, and a laundry, in an attempt to make the island more self-sufficient. The addition of the George Machen Detention Center and the Otis Bantam Correctional Center in the 1970s further expanded its capacity. By the 1980s, Rikers Island had become notorious for its harsh conditions, violence among inmates, and frequent clashes between inmates and correctional officers. The facility was often cited in reports criticizing the American penal system's failures. In 1986, a report by the New York City Board of Correction revealed widespread violence, mismanagement, and neglect on the island, sparking calls for reform and oversight. These calls, however, were met with slow and often superficial changes. The 1990s were marked by increased attention to the conditions at Rikers, fueled by media exposure and heightened public awareness. Despite attempts to improve conditions, the institution was overwhelmed by the crack cocaine epidemic, which significantly increased the city's jail population. In 2001, the Department of Justice began an investigation into the conditions at Rikers Island. The investigation highlighted issues such as excessive use of force by guards, inadequate health care, and the mistreatment of mentally ill inmates. This resulted in federal oversight and mandates for reform. Despite ongoing reforms, problems persisted into the 21st century. A culture of violence was deeply ingrained, and incidents of brutality and corruption among guards were regularly reported. Efforts to improve staffing and training were continuously undermined by systemic issues. In 2014, a detailed report by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York condemned Rikers Island for a culture of violence against adolescent inmates. The report led to further federal oversight and a renewed push for substantial reforms. Amid these controversies, the idea of closing Rikers Island gained traction. Activists, city leaders, and even former inmates spoke out against the facility's continued operation, citing its legacy of abuse and mismanagement. In 2017, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced plans to close Rikers Island within a decade. The plan involved reducing the overall jail population and moving inmates to smaller, more modern facilities closer to the city's boroughs. The decision was met with both approval and skepticism. While many applauded the move as a step toward a more humane and just correctional system, others worried about the feasibility of the plans and potential impacts on neighborhoods where new jails would be built. As the closure plan progressed, the city focused on criminal justice reforms aimed at reducing incarceration rates. These included bail reforms, alternative sentencing programs, and improvements in mental health and drug addiction treatment. Despite these reforms, the transition proved complex. Delays, political debates, and budgetary constraints slowed the progress. The COVID-19 pandemic further complicated matters, as outbreaks within the jails prompted urgent calls for inmate releases and heightened criticisms of the city's handling of inmate safety. Today, Rikers Island stands as a stark reminder of the challenges facing the American correctional system. Its story reflects broader societal issues: the balance between justice and punishment, the treatment of the mentally ill in the criminal justice system, and the deep inequalities that can lead to incarceration. As the city moves forward with its plans to close Rikers, the island's future remains uncertain. Discussions continue about how best to repurpose the land, a park, a renewable energy hub, or another public resource. Whatever its future, Rikers Island remains a powerful symbol of the need for comprehensive criminal justice reform and a testament to the complexities of such undertakings. Through its troubled history, Rikers Island teaches us about the perils of isolation and neglect in the penal system. It stands as a somber reminder of the work still needed to ensure fairness, dignity, and justice for all within the confines of America's jails and prisons. Thanks for joining us on this eye-opening journey through Rikers Island. If you were shocked by what you learned today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the untold stories of our world. Share this video to help spread awareness and join the conversation in the comments below. What should we explore next? Your feedback drives our content, so let us know. Until next time, stay informed and keep seeking the truth.